Greetings, dear learners. I am Dr. Jitendra, Assistant Professor in the Department of Forensic Medicine, Aligarh Muslim University. I came to know that you all are enjoying injuries course with Kaleem Khan sir. I just came to take few lectures added to the injuries section to share some my experiences and knowledge with you about the injuries and particularly with the respect to the road traffic accidents. So we will be covering some of the topics related to the road traffic accidents, like the substance abuse relation with the road traffic accident, and then the disaster medicine with respect to the road traffic accident, and the transplantation of human organ acts, their opportunities in case of the road traffic accidents. We will be covering these short few topics in our 2 to 3 classes. Beginning our topic, as the name suggests, what is substance abuse? And as you can see here, the road traffic incidents I have written, not the road traffic accident. So we are already categorizing the road traffic accidents. That means the manner we are already deciding in case of the different types of roadways or the different types of the roadways or the railways or the metro incidences, where it is not necessarily that the event has occurred by the accident, but often it is a wrongly used that it is road traffic accident, it is the railway traffic accident, metro accident, and the vehicular accidents. They are categorized under that. However, it must be spelled as incidence, because they all could have the different manners. Some person might be interested to commit the suicide by the vehicular accident. Some person might have been involved in the committing the murder of with the help of the vehicular accidents. So in this way, the different intentions will define the manner, and that is the basic theme, that it should be road traffic incidents. Then you already learned different sorts of injuries that are produced in case of road traffic accidents. So you may find all sorts of the blunt injuries. The classification of the mechanical injuries you must know in the injuries, where you under the mechanical injuries you knew abrasion, contusion, lacerations, fractures, and where you knew abrasions, contusion, lacerations, and the fractures. So you will find all the sorts of blunt injuries in case of road traffic accidents. However, sometimes in case the body is falling on sharp object, or there is the prominent or the sharp parts of the bike or the vehicle, car or something, sharp injuries may also be produced on the body. But mostly you are able to see all the patterns of injuries on the road traffic accident by relating the pattern of injuries, primary impact, secondary impact, and all the sorts of injuries. You may come to define the pattern of the incidence, and that helps to characterize whether what event has happened and how this all has been done. Very often in the railway accident, it is very doubtful that it is homicidal, suicidal, or accidental. So in those cases, the meticulous examination of the case is very important, and with the proper history, crime scene examination, all these will help to solve whether the railway accident is the suicide or homicide. And there the chances of foul play are very high. There could be the accidental situation as well. So we must look everything related to all parts of the scenario with respect to the railway or the road traffic accidents. Then often the road traffic accidents or the other vehicular accidents are associated with the intake of the substance abuse. So what is substance abuse? So the question is, what is substance abuse? As per the WHO, substance abuse refers to the harmful or hazardous use of psychoactive substances, including alcohol or any illicit drugs. So a person might be driving under the influence of alcohol. So alcohol here is also included as the substance abuse. Substance abuse is the broad term. Earlier we used to relate just the vehicular accidents with the alcohol or the psychoactive substances separately, but they all will be covered under the substance abuse. So a person might be driving his vehicle under the influence of any drug, any psychoactive substance, or the under the influence of alcohol, they are the most often the cause for the vehicular accident. In those cases, the examination of the blood sample and the confirmation of the influence of the alcohol is very important. Here the legal aspect is also there, that in the scenarios there are even the insurance companies are involved. If you have the accidental insurance and if you die because of the intake of the alcohol, then the insurance companies will not cover your insurance. And even the crime is also there. If you are under the influence of alcohol and you are driving, then it is another punishable offense. And if you are causing the death or the major accidents to the person, then you may be guilty of that accident as per the section 84 and 85 of the IPCs. We will come to there after some times. So this is the important aspect with respect to the vehicular accident, that the correlation of substance abuse intake and the type of the crime has an important relationship. In that we will be very briefly knowing about the substance abuse. So substance abuse disorders are the serious problems adversely affecting the social fabric of the country. Dependence to any substance not only affect the individual health but also disrupts their families and the whole society. Regular consumption of the various psychoactive substances leads to dependence of the individual. Some substance compounds may lead to the neuropsychiatric disorders, cardiovascular disease, mental health issues resulting in suicide and the violences. It leads to the harmful health effects and the financial strain on individuals, families and the societies. The global illicit drug issue evolves due to various socio-demographic factors like gender, age and the urbanization rates. In the African region, cannabis is the most prevalent illicit substance, with West and the Central Africa reporting to the highest rate between the 5.2% and the 13.2%. Amphetamines like stimulants, that includes the ecstasy, methamphetamine, rank as the second most abused type of drugs in Africa. Additionally, children and the youth in the Sierra Leone use the benzodiazepine inhalants and the injectable drugs at a rate of 3.7%. So all these factors, all these substance abuse may be abused by the person, and under that influence, a person may be involved in the crime or he may have the vehicular accident. So the liability and the issues shall be checked, and for that purpose, examination by the doctors is very important. So for that purpose, examination by the doctors is very important, as the doctors will only tell that whether the person is under the influence of that particular drug or alcohol or not. So if someone takes the alcohol, that doesn't mean that he is under the influence of the alcohol. So a term that is defined is the drunkenness is with the alcohol, that if you are under the influence of alcohol, then it is said to be drunkenness. So as per the definition, drunkenness is a condition produced in a person who has taken alcohol in a quantity sufficient to cause him to lose control of his faculties to such an extent that he is unable to execute safely the occupation in which he was engaged at a particular time period. So as per this definition, the person must have the intake of sufficient quantity so that he lose the control of his faculties to such an extent that he is unable to execute safely the occupation in which he was engaged at a particular period of time. So the ingestion of the alcohol or any substance of abuse is associated with all the types of occupation or the driving or any sort of the other purposes. So it is very important that we establish that the person is under the influence of the alcohol or not. For that, various steps of the examination in case of drunkenness is involved. We will be coming to the detail of each step one by one. That is very important for you to know. Often doctors are asked to examine a person and to opine whether he is drunk or not. This is used for the various medical legal purposes like public annoyances. This is used for various medical legal purposes like public annoyances in the state of intoxication or driving vehicle under the influence of alcohol. So every doctor must know the procedure for the examination of a case of the alcohol intoxication to categorize them whether he is under the influence of alcohol or not. The examinations shall be done very cautiously before coming to any conclusion. The smell of ethanol in breath, the pulse rate, dilatation of the pupil, or the color of the face gives no indication to the degree of intoxication. So the parameters, it shall not be decided based on these findings that he is under the influence or not. He shall be thoroughly examined. The conclusions shall be arrived only after the detailed examination with a special reference to the state of the mind, coordination of the movements, visual acuity and the others factors. In every legal medical definition, so for the examination, we must follow all these 19 or 20 steps. You can even modify some of the steps. This is a vague idea, that is to make you understand that in this way the examination of the drunkenness shall be done. That includes the consent of the person. As you are very well aware that in every legal medical situation, before examining any person, the doctor need their written consent. As you are very well aware that in every legal medical situation, before examining someone, the doctor needs their written consent. If the person is drunk and cannot give the consent, the doctor can still examine them, but should wait to share the results until they are sober and agree. So if the person is unconscious, then you should collect the samples and you shall examine the person without the person who is on behalf is consenting. But the results shall not be disclosed unless he becomes the conscious, and you have to take the consent and then you must disclose the result to the legal authorities. However, if the court has given the order for the immediate disclosure, in those cases the doctor must obey. However, if the court has given the orders for the immediate disclosure, in those cases doctor must obey without the consent of the person. He must disclose it to the court of the law. If the person refuses and is uncooperative, but he has been arrested for the crime, doctors can still examine them without consent with a reasonable force. And if even with the reasonable force he is not allowing, then in those cases you should take then you should inform the appropriate authority and the order from the court shall be taken. For the application of the reasonable force, the request shall come from a reasonable rank of the police officer, that should be minimum in the rank of the sub-inspector, and the doctor can also, and in the part of the examination for the drunkenness, the consent part, it is also imperative that for the purpose of the drunkenness you are examining, so you may collect the samples for the purpose of the blood alcohol concentration, like the samples of urine and the blood. You can examine under that consent only. So in this way you should take the proper consent before examining a person in the event of the drunkenness. Then after the consent, you must record all the preliminary details, name of the person, address, age, sex and all the who has been brought and all the details. Then you should take the proper, then the third step shall be to exclude the injuries and the pathological states. You must rule out any injuries on the body or any certain pathological states that may mimic the alcohol intoxication, different types of the comatose condition due to the head injuries, due to the opium poisoning or other or pontine hemorrhages. They may mimic the comatose condition of the alcohol. They may mimic the alcoholic coma. So they must be ruled out, that the other pathological condition is not there, and the relevant investigation for that purpose must be done. Thorough examination of the body for looking for the injuries must be done. All the injuries on the body, that should be looked, and injection mark and everything should be noted. Then the proper history from the person shall be taken. It is important that the history shall be taken from the person himself, even though he is not conscious or he is in the intoxicated state. Then also it should be then also it is better to collect the history from that person only, so that you will be able to judge his mental status and the mental capacity and everything. So proper history of the amount of intake, time of intake, what brand he has taken, and all those and how much any associated drugs he has taken, any medication history, any food or what other things that he consumed along with the drink. All this shall be taken in the detail, and Thereafter, you should look for the general behavior of the person. What is the manners, how he is talking, what is his dressing, and overall the pattern. Is he is in his healthy look, or is he is in the drowsy state, or he is misbehaving? Because according to concentration, you already here I would like to tell you that I am not go here I would like to tell you that I am not going into the details of the alcohol intoxication and the features that are seen in case of the alcohol intoxication. For your kind information, or your for just to share with you that I have designed a toxicology course that is parallelly running along with this injury course. You can enroll in that course and you can learn all the details related to the toxicology. There you will find all the details on the alcohol or the cannabis or the other psychoactive substances, the features that are seen in the alcohol poisoning. The features that are seen depends on the concentration of the alcohol. Various stages are there according to the concentration. According to the according to that, patients will have the clinical features, and you have to correlate that what condition or that what stage by the physical examination, and the after that the laboratory examination will be the confirmatory. But although by the physical examination you must be able to say that whether the person has at this much concentration of the alcohol and he is under influence, or this mental impairment, or this certain sort of the damage has been there, comatose stage is there, so itself it says that this much concentration of alcohol is suggestive of the comatose condition. So in this way we will be able to judge about the patient condition. So it is very important to know that before you proceed further, you must learn about the features of the poisoning with the alcohol intoxication and various other psychoactive substances. So after the general behavior of the patient, you must look for the memory and the mental alertness. What is the his memory, is mentally alert or not, is his memory is intact, or what type of sort of symptoms he is producing. All those things should be asked. He must be asked regarding the time, place and the persons, different surroundings, and everything shall be judged. Then his handwriting shall be noted. It is very important, as you ask him to take the piece of paper and note it from the newspaper or any of the books. You see his handwriting pattern, and this is basically becomes the documentary sort of evidence, because this is a form of record that in front of you he recorded at the time of ingestion this pattern of handwriting. Thereafter you can match it with his normal condition of handwriting, and they can be produced before the court of law as a evidence that the person at the time of intoxication was definitely had the impaired handwriting, or the some sort of the some sort of difficulties in handwriting that will be reflected in his handwriting pattern. So this is the important fact, and the paper shall be preserved properly, or it shall be stitched, or it shall be attached with the MLC certificate. Then after the handwriting, you should look for all the general physical examination: pulse, BP, temperature, skin condition, pallor, icterus, cyanosis, clubbing, lymphadenopathy, that we already learned in the clinical examination of a patient. That all we should do, the general physical examination, then the systemic examination, all the systems shall be examined: auscultation, GIT conditions, central nervous system, and the urinary system, and all those systems must be examined, skeletal, and all those systems must be examined. And if there is any issues, then it shall be reported, and reflexes and all those seats should be mentioned properly. Then the examination of eyes is very important, because eye changes are very significant in case of the alcohol intoxication. Different sorts of the eye movements are impaired. You must check the acuity of the eyes, pupillary dilatation with the light, reflexes, movement of the eye. Then various nystagmus and strabismus are seen in case of the alcohol intoxication, that you may find. We will be coming to the nystagmus that are seen in case of the alcohol intoxication. You must follow the steps of examination in case of the ophthalmology. There the examination for the intrinsic muscle, pupillary dilatation and constriction, then convergence of the pupil for extrinsic muscles, nystagmus and all those things. Accordingly, you have to examine the eye properly and look for everything. Thereafter, you should check for the gait of the person. Thereafter, you should check for the gait of the person. You may ask the person to walk, just normal walk. You should look for whether he is walking in a normal manner, or he is waving or he is getting disbalanced. So you must check this one. Then you may ask to walk and turn test. You ask him to walk over a straight line and then ask him to turn around. There you will find that some difficulties might be there. There are various criteria for walk and turn test. At that point, you have to tell that this is defective or this stage is there. So this is very important again, that you must check for the gait of the person. Then stance of the person. You must ask the person to close his eyes and expand his hands, and then you see his balance. Normally it affects the cerebellum, so his equilibrium is affected. So he will, if he close his eyes, then he will sway away on either of the side. So you must look for the stance of the person. Then muscular coordination shall be recorded. You must ask him to pick any object from the table. You ask him to pick this pen and or you may ask him to button, unbutton. You may ask the color for this. You may ask for the buttoning and unbuttoning of the shirt, or picking the water from the table and asking him to drink. All these will help to judge you the muscular. All these will help you to judge the muscular coordination in that patient. Then the reflexes you must say. Then the various tendon reflexes you must check, that will indicate of the muscular coordination. Knee jerk or the ankle jerk or the Babinski sign. All these shall be looked upon. Then we already talked the systemic examination, and the lab investigation shall be done after all the physical examination. In that it is very confirmatory that what amount of alcohol he has ingested. With the help of lab investigation we can confirm. So in the examination of a drunken person, we have to go through all the steps. Then after, the final step shall be to form the opinion based on all the findings. And then after, you must sign at the end of the report, and then it's complete your report on the drunkenness.